Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent live from the Ats and Offer studio, where we are live every single Monday to Friday. Glad you're all joining us on this Independence Week preamble as we get closer and closer to the 250th birthday of this great nation. And I don't know, maybe a good time to remind folks. I mean, everybody that tunes in on the daily understands, but those that maybe don't need a reminder as to why this country's so great and to the dangers that we face as we head into the elections at the midterm, and just what Zoran Mamdani and the ilk and the likes of him and his democratic socialist brothers and sisters mean to the future of this country.
Well, it always sounds great, right? Let's just do things. We're going to do all these great things, and we're going to do them all with other people's money. Now the big deal is we're only going to, if Elon Musk only paid FICA and Social Security on all of his income, well, I mean, it would solve world hunger. That's what they tell you. Yeah. That it would solve world. They forget that all of this is paper gains, that Elon doesn't necessarily have $1 trillion sitting in the bank, but that doesn't matter because they want to tax unrealized gains.
Yep.
If they can do it to him, then they can do it to you. Oh, your 401k went up? We're going to tax you on that now. Well, wait, I thought it was tax deferred. Well, it is. You'll pay another tax later. Your real estate went up in value. Well, they already do that. They already tax you on unrealized gains. You buy a house for $200,000, and 3 years later, the CAD says it's worth $450,000, and they tax you on it.
Just wait till your 401ks and your retirement accounts start being taxed before you retire.
And if you're my age and your age, my younger friend, they're already predicting a 22% reduction in our Social Security benefit. Never mind that I've paid in all these years. They're saying that the model won't sustain itself because the Democrats got their hands on it years ago and started putting it into the general fund. Now you're going to be facing, they're saying 78% of what you were supposed to get, you will now get. And oh, by the way, they're going to tax that too. So there you have it. The Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. I recommended bifin to a friend this weekend. I think I've got when Dawn goes out and picks up the eggs now, sometimes there's little bugs on them. Could they be mites? I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know. I put some diatomaceous earth out there.
That's a good thing.
Cuts those little bugs up like scissors, Edward Scissorhands for the birds.
I love it. He had it with scissor hands.
Yeah, 80 degrees more cowbell. 80%. 80 degrees in Victoria, Texas, under sunny skies, heading to a high today of 92.
Stephanie Coney, Scott Tomko, Marvin Makers on the podium this morning. Let's just start here because the Democrats of Texas met in Corpus Christi this weekend, and they brought in all, Mamdani was chatting from New York.
Bernie was
there. Why you bring in Bernie? But here's the scary part, folks. Here's what I want you to realize. They've taken over New York City.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken over basically the state of New York because they find as far left congressional districts, precincts, whatever, in whatever election they can run. And they take those over with their Democratic Socialist candidates. And then they've already got California. If they can ever get a foothold in Texas,
they run the country.
With James Tallarico in the Senate,
they run the country.
They would run the country. And that's their goal. They're now looking to go to Michigan and Wisconsin because they've pretty much got Michigan already.
But I can remember Ash being a little kid and asking my dad, well, so if Americans can vote for anybody they want, if anybody can run for any office, what would stop them from voting themselves into communist? And my dad said nothing if they were that foolish. And what's funny is that's where we are.
Yep.
Nobody seems to understand that Mamdani makes AOC look conservative. These people don't recognize Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton doesn't recognize Bill Clinton. He's had
No.
so much plastic surgery.
Yeah, he's
No.
out there.
But we were watching the clip this morning, and I mean, the softballs the media tosses Mamdani
Because
and
they are
others
complicit.
is ridiculous. But they asked him because he's about to be 35, and so right now he could run for president, but he can't because
He's not born
foreign
here.
born.
He's from Uganda.
And so they asked him, should you change the Constitution? And he smiles nicely for the camera and says, no, the Constitution is great just the way it is.
Which, by the way, is the perfect answer. I mean, he's polished.
Yeah. No, great answer.
He gives the answer that makes you say, well, he wouldn't be so bad.
But
If he says, well, if that's what the people want, then it's, oh, man, he's trying to change the country. He's not trying to change the country except right before your very eyes.
Except this is the party that wants the president to answer to Congress. They want to eliminate the checks and balances. And if and when they do that, and they don't want to just change the balance of the Supreme Court, they want to get rid of the Supreme Court. So, of course, the Constitution is perfect as it is for Mamdani, because if they ever got a foothold in Washington, D.C., Washington, D.C. would not look like it does today, and the Constitution wouldn't matter to them.
So what you do is you get rid of the judicial branch of the government, you neuter the executive branch of the government, and then you basically have mob rule, right? One person, one vote. All of a sudden, you've got Texas, California, and New York controlling Congress. Very interesting. Chairman Kendall Scudder is going to speak. How do you have to push up a feed over there?
He's the chair of the Texas Democrat
Let's see
Party.
what this bonehead has to say.
And this is his closeout speech from convention. Get a listen to this, and listen to the lack of enthusiasm at certain points.
Oh, they're
by
all
the
tired.
folks in attendance. All right.
What does it say we hear now?
I don't know. We can hear it. So
You have been spared. He said, as we leave Corpus Christi, we want to have expanded health care, better schools, more opportunity. It's their hope and change playbook.
Lower prices.
Yeah.
They think these folks.
Oh, Scott Tomko comes in with, are they signing it? That's nice. Yes. We want affordable health care. Everybody wants affordable health care. Did you know that I saw one the other day? It said that this was the statement. 7 million Americans are without health care. And I've said it since they first identified their health care crisis. Rather than reform the entire system, just give those 7 million people, that's 1 out of every 50, 2% of the country, just give them a health care card and let it be, it's 2%. And just let the system pick them up. Give them health care. Who cares? No, we have to tear down the whole thing.
Why are they without health care? That's the bigger question.
Well, they don't have jobs, and because they don't have jobs,
you've got Medicare and Medicaid. A lot of them don't want. I mean,
and BJ Nelson's correct. That 7 million is a moving target because at any given time, 4 to 5 million in this country are simply between jobs. Are there any? Do you want to read the roll call, see if there are any comments worthy of chastisement? There's Sheriff Louderback. Good morning,
Sheriff Jacobs, Andrew Alvarez.
Yeah, well, you're right. We do have federal laws against communism, but no one is doing anything. I think if you let them talk long enough, they talk themselves into a hole.
I don't know. They talk themselves into office and then turn those places into holes, and then it's too late.
Yeah, fair.
And it doesn't have to be communism. Look at the Democrats. Look at the Fifth Ward. Linda Chris is counting them cheating to get Tallarico into office.
I don't think Tallarico's electable, but he's like one cycle away. They'll find a way. You know, Beto was extreme. This guy's more extreme and dumber. I mean, Beto's sitting at home going, how did I not get elected?
They were, like I said last week, they found religious Beto because they're trying to appeal to the moderates
who just don't like Paxton because he's a cheat. Cheats on his wife.
Yeah. All right. Let's try this one more time. Let me know if you got this.
You got to turn up a feed.
Proven something important. We are one party with one purpose.
Tell me if you can hear this.
We've had spirited discussions, debated ideas, and made decisions together. That's what Democrats do. But when we leave Corpus Christi today, we leave with a unified message and a shared promise to the people of Texas. Texans don't need more political theater. They need leaders who will strengthen our public schools, lower the cost of living, expand access to affordable health care, protect our freedoms, and create opportunities for every family.
And almost no applause, and he goes on for a little longer, but tell me how politicians in Texas can lower the cost of living.
It doesn't matter. Barack Obama got elected twice talking about hope and change. He didn't do anything. Think about it. And he's not even dead, and they're already chatting up the fact that he's just one of the greatest presidents ever, Barack. And that Trump hates him because he was so handsome and Michelle was so beautiful. I mean, I just don't get bogged down in hating Barack Obama or how his wife looks.
No,
I don't get it.
I don't either. But his policies, there was not a more divisive president in my mind ever.
Well, he's the only president I know that's made everything about race.
Yes.
Everything's about race. It can all be traced back to race.
Keith Williams checking in.
And we live under the illusion that Black America has this infinite political power that it just doesn't have. It's like when you watch television and every show, every commercial has a biracial couple. That's fine. Man, love who you love. But every family, every show has a biracial couple. It's 2% of our nation.
If you actually watch TV and analyze the demographics in TV, they don't represent this country.
No, the white male is always slovenly and stupid, and the wife
a buffoon. He's Chevy Chase.
That's right. Every time.
Yep. No, it's
Tim Allen, the guy from Married with Children, Ed Bundy, just idiots. They're all idiots. That's how they're portrayed. The emasculation of the white American male. That's what it is. Like you just don't matter because you're a white male. You don't matter. You're an idiot.
Here's the power. The political class that has power right now, or the voting bloc that has power.
The Latinos have the voting power.
Not even them. First generation Americans get out to vote. When you look at the numbers that got Zoran Mamdani elected in New York City, that's the bloc that carried him. First generation Americans who voted. And I'm sure there are probably a bunch of New York who aren't even able to vote, but still went out and voted, because Andrew Cuomo, as much as I can't stand the guy, he was as close to sanity as could have been elected in New York City. And you know which demographic he carried by a mile over Mamdani? The non-first generation American voter.
So was the Cuomo that ran was the one that used to be governor?
Yeah. And
now think about that. And he was, him of nipple piercings and shoving everybody into the same nursing home and people dying by the score. He's the guy we would have voted for in that race.
if we
think
were there,
about that.
Yeah. The older American demographic, which is the bulk of the population, are not voting. The 45 to 80-year-old, they're not voting.
They need to get out and vote. They've given up. The country's gone to hell. I'm not going to put my teeth in to go vote for that.
The 18 to 35-year-old carried Mamdani. Why? Because they're entitled. They feel that they don't have it as good as their parents and they deserve to.
Yeah, you see that deal where it always says my rent's $3,200, my BMW payments X, my insurance. My parents could get by on one income. I can't do it. I guess I just wasn't raised that way. I was like, well, get a different car and get a roommate. Interesting.
There's and the surveys say, well, we don't have it as good. We don't have it as good as our parents did. Well, no kidding. You're 25 years old. You just graduated college, probably with a degree that doesn't pay much.
Right.
And you haven't earned anything. So of course you don't. And you don't want to do the things your parents did. Move to smaller towns where there's opportunity. Move to smaller cities where there's opportunity. You want to live in the New Yorks and the LAs and the Seattles and the Austins and the Houstons that have nightlife, but no jobs.
And eat out every meal and,
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. No. It's crazy.
I don't know what you do. The Mamdanis of the world, people that don't know anything about our country, don't have any pride in our country, voting for people who want to give them everything for free with other people's money.
Yep.
It's the American dream. You come here, somehow you get citizenship, and then you just expect the country to take care of you.
Yeah. And the Democrats believe this is the way.
Well, they believe it's the way. They don't care about the people. They want the power. And the way to get the power is to continue to promise the have-nots that the haves have so much that we can just take from the haves and give to the have-nots forever. And that it'll all be okay. And that's not communism. That's not socialism. That's just people giving their fair share.
The Democratic Socialist of America platform, which is slowly, and this is the party that has now become the Democrat Party.
They talk about it openly now. They're Democratic Socialists.
And there's nothing democratic about socialists. This is a party that is hiding behind the fact they are communists.
Yeah, it's like saying jumbo shrimp. Yeah. It's all relative.
They want to implement a 32-hour work week.
We don't want you to work too long.
Which, to be honest, would still make Americans the most productive workers in the world.
I'm not putting in an extra 8 hours. I'm not doing it. But I do think that
you cram 4 hours in an 8-hour work day every day.
Every day.
Yeah. No, that's they want to tax the rich to fund, this is straight off their platforms, folks, to fund universal social programs like free public child care and paid family leave. There's not enough rich in this country to pay for that. The rich in this country, as we pointed out, also too often already pay 80% of all federal income tax in this country.
Yeah. Anywhere you see the word free in a political platform, you need to insert the phrase taxpayer funded, because free doesn't exist. The government doesn't generate any income. Anything that says we're going to provide that to you free of charge to you, but we're going to charge somebody for themselves and you. Free just means taxpayer funded.
They want to demilitarize and defund the police, and the demilitarization, it's an interesting term.
Well, yeah, it's because of this. Yeah. They're also wanting to get rid of ICE completely.
They want to abolish cash bail and mandatory minimum sentencing.
You should just get out of jail until you're convicted. You should not be held under any circumstances.
They want to abolish the Electoral College and go strictly through proportional representation.
Which is, not our constitutional republic, but that's okay. Let's just throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Workers deserve more.
That's their motto. Workers of the world unite. That's the communist.
Lenin got the workers to revolt against the czars in Russia.
Absolutely.
Mao Zedong got the workers of China to revolt against the dynasties.
And looking back, both would have been better off if they'd have been left alone. And we don't even have an oligarchy. But if we had an oligarchy, it would still be better than communism.
The Affordable Health Care Act has done nothing. Think about it. When they had to pass it to see what was in it, it was billed as the savior to healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Here we are, 16 years later.
Same number of people don't have healthcare.
And it's no more affordable. The only reason it was affordable is because they subsidized both ends. They subsidized the payer, and they subsidized the healthcare company. And when they ended the subsidies, Trump's the bad guy that ended the subsidies. They were set to expire at some point. They just didn't renew them, right? That's the thing. They pushed this off for 16 years.
That's right. Then they blame the Republicans when their system was never self-sustaining. It would not work. It won't work. But it never worked.
It didn't fix anything.
That's interesting. So you look at it. I don't know. I mean, either you see it or you don't. That's the problem, is you can't make people see it that don't want to see it. There's people right there. They don't want to see it.
No. They don't want to see it.
They don't want to see it. Folks, USA Foundation Repair. When you see it, call them. Your doors won't close, cracks in your sheetrock. Dial 578-HOME. Let Charlie Garcia come out and shore up that house. They can fix your slab. They can go underneath if they need to and lift your home.
Any foundation issues, whether you're pier and beam.
Yeah, they can do it. They can do it. Veracruz Restaurant welcoming you back in today, Monday. The best queso, the creamiest guacamole, fresh salsa, homemade chips, homemade flour tortillas. This is Mexican food done perfectly.
I have yet to find better guacamole.
No, it's the best. And in blind taste test, they have had competitions where they won. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen's your go-to tow-to. If you end up in a ditch, side of a road, if you have a problem.
Saw one of those Saturday heading up to Yoakum on Saturday afternoon. There was a car on the side of the road in the ditch.
Right.
And Allen's pulled them out and got the car off.
Is there. Then Went Services. Went for all your electrical needs. Went can help you with ballast, new lighting, You need a different breaker. You want to hook an RV up to your home. You need a different breaker. They can help you with that. Whatever you need done, Generac generator, turnkey service. You can leave, come home, have a generator. Then Paravito Wellness inviting you to get in and get healthy. Take your blood work, show Erica Briggs that you want to master these macros, have no preservatives, have no gluten. Whatever your desire is, Paravito Wellness can help you. And then here at the offices at 205, John Paul Hull and James Geets inviting you to come down and get new space. They can help you with at least 2 suites available right now. A great place for you to be.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Where else do we
want to thank those of you that went to Ramirez Transmission this weekend to help defray some cost for the Gamez family. Well done. Our buddy BB and Al Trevino helping raise funds for a needy cause. Great family business, Ramirez Transmission.
Yeah. Listen to CNN this morning.
There's going to be a heat wave. Never mind, it's July.
Yeah.
Somebody said the other day, it's going to be 104 in Phoenix, and you're denying climate change? I've never denied climate change. I've always questioned man's real role in it. We make ourselves so self-important. How much are the United States, how much are we really doing comparing those in India and China that are pumping coal smoke into the atmosphere unchecked? Nobody cares because they're emerging countries.
Yeah. Well, and listen, I mean, 1,000 more people than normal died in France over last week during the heat wave there, where temperatures hit 104, which, I mean, probably pretty hot for France. I don't know. But reading some of the stories on this, anywhere from 800 to 1,000 people die in France every day.
Right. Don't tell anybody that, though. That doesn't matter.
And over this heat wave, they've had 100 to 200 more per day die. Okay, what was the underlying health reasons? What was going on?
They're French.
But some of the stories I saw, the hottest temperatures in 20 years, the hottest temperatures in 50 years. They're going back far enough to paint a narrative, and that's it.
Yeah. As if 50 years is an immeasurable time in the history of weather. I mean, right there, you said 1,000 people died in France. 1,450 people are dead in Venezuela.
Yep. After
last week's 2 earthquakes.
Back to back within 5 minutes, 7.2, 7.5, the U.S. leading the way. You want proof about the socialism and communism and dictatorship and how it doesn't work?
Where's that Islamic aid coming into Venezuela?
Venezuela gutted their emergency response capabilities. And not that you can predict earthquakes with any sense of reliability. They're on they've got the Pacific on one side, they've got the Caribbean. It's a pretty interesting place with a lot of tectonic plates meeting there. And Maduro gutted their seismic research at the universities there. Science.com had some pretty interesting stories on this over the weekend about how this is basically was a ticking time bomb from a seismology perspective, because they haven't had significant earthquakes in Venezuela in 100 to 200 years.
Aren't there parts of Yellowstone National Park that are shut down right now?
I think so.
Which, by the way, Yellowstone it's been proven, Yellowstone is an immense volcano. That's what it is. It's an immense volcano.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point that some have surmised that it may have been the eruption of a volcano in the Yellowstone Park that actually killed all the dinosaurs. That there was so much ash in the air that the reptiles couldn't get to the sun, kind of deal, and they all died. Which, of course, gave us all the oil we could ever use, ever.
Belgium took their water cannons and were spraying people out by areas that tourists and the population flock to.
Yeah,
They don't have air conditioning because they haven't needed it. But you know what? Maybe it's time.
Michelle was in August says Paris has shut down tourist places and stopped selling alcohol. That's all the French have, right? Is booze and monuments. So they're in trouble. Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Oh, we're back to a ceasefire. Just in case y'all were wondering, it'll be over by lunch. But
yeah, Iranian drone hit an oil tanker near the Strait on I think it was Friday, right?
And didn't sink it, right? But they just hit it with something.
And then the Revolutionary Guard fired drones and missiles at U.S. bases in Kuwait and Bahrain after the U.S.
And that'll show us
fired some missiles to strike radar sites. And then early this morning, apparently, both sides agreed to stand down again.
Yeah.
So
they keep thinking, I think the Iranians do believe that if they can be, sticky enough for long enough that Trump will just go away. He's not going to go away. Barack went away, gave him a bunch of money and left. And I just don't think Trump's going to go away.
Yeah. Fox News reporting that the two sides this morning have agreed to halt the military strikes that took place over the weekend, and we'll meet in Doha, Qatar tomorrow to de-escalate and further the talks. So
I did visit with an active duty military gentleman officer this weekend, and his take is that, look, those people have always been fighting. They're probably always going to fight. He made an interesting point because I'm very, I think from a biblical perspective, I'm very pro-Israel. But he said, look, man, there's 6 million Jews over there, and they sure are spearheading a lot of problems. And maybe they need to kind of know their place and settle down a little bit and quit being in the middle of getting the U.S. into all these global conflicts. I don't know. I mean, I am not a military expert. I am not privy to military intelligence. I have always, even when Barack did it, I said, okay, he has access to information I don't have. Him and the Joint Chiefs, who I always think of as being probably trigger happy. The military guys are like, what's the use of having all this gear if we can't use it? I believe that. I don't think that the highest levels of military leadership look at their equipment as a deterrent. I think they look at it as something that should be used. That's the way I believe. But I defer to the intelligence community versus my own knowledge, which I have to admit is minimal. So if Trump has a reason to blast Iran, then I support that. That's just the way I've been consistently. It's not like I'm like, oh, Barack's bombing 25,000 bombs. I can't believe it. And then I support Trump. That would be partisan hypocrisy.
Well, but what's interesting is there were never any leaks out of that side of Barack Obama's administration.
Nobody called and warned the enemy that we were coming under Barack Obama.
Israel and Lebanon, according to Fox News, agreeing to a framework that would see the IDF withdraw from southern Lebanon, but Israel says only if the Lebanese army deploys against Hezbollah.
Now that's interesting. So the Israelis are telling the Lebanese, you need to go and fight Hezbollah because they hate Israel. Again, there's the Israelis throwing around their weight.
Well, but they're hiding them and harboring them, and they're terrorists, and
So
everybody
there
in
you
the
go.
world says, okay, we don't want these guys.
Jonathan Williams, I agree 100%. He says you can be pro-Israel and still tell them to chill out. And by the way, our own president has done so, hasn't he? Hey, Benji, settle down. Quit bombing people while I'm trying to negotiate a peace.
Yeah. Tell you the one that was quiet over the weekend, John Bolton pleading guilty to withholding classified information. Don't forget, this is a guy that resigned, didn't he? Or did Trump fire him? I can't remember exactly how he ended up out of the
in the
administration.
face of being fired.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
That's probably how it went. Well, on his way out, apparently walked away with a bunch of classified information, shared it with some folks, was apparently going to write a book and use some of this.
Yeah. And
So
he doesn't have the authority to declassify stuff the way the president did.
He didn't have the authority to walk out of the office with it.
Right.
And now faces up to 5 years in federal prison, but probably will not see any.
No.
I'm guessing he won't see any prison time.
And then he'll write the book.
But remember how up in arms the left was? Oh, he's just a buddy of Trump when Trump hired him as his national security advisor.
Yeah. Now that Trump's threatening to put him in prison, it's because Trump's got something to hide.
Well, that or it's become lawfare right now. He's persecuting his enemies.
Right. Yes. He is the guy who committed treason.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just, this was the guy that wanted to go to war. Everybody will tell you that's one of the things that happened in the first Trump administration was he was not eager to go to war, and everybody around him wanted to go to war.
Yeah.
Because why? They're probably influenced by all the military industrial complex, folks.
Very interesting.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
Very interesting. And it's, and now he's pleading guilty to withholding classified information.
Probably with some type of a plea deal already arranged.
I'm sure. Yeah.
To where he won't go to prison.
Absolutely.
So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do find some of the arrangements, we go back and look at the president's points involving the peace with Iran. And I think the U.S. is only on the hook for, why did I say 25 billion? Am I right?
I think that's what you said. Yeah.
And which is, by the way, about a fourth of what we've spent on the war. So it's kind of hard to quibble over that amount. Interesting. I'm going to take a break and we'll come back and talk about the Astros update in a minute. Folks, the chopping block is closed. John Turner and his family are going to focus on their location in Webster. They will be doing some mail order packaging. You can FedEx beef over here. It is that good. There are going to be times it would be worth considering calling them and saying, hey, do you have some Wagyu? The market over by NASA, where they're at in Clear Lake area, Webster, allows them to carry higher end cuts of meat. When they first opened here, there was a lot of Wagyu and this and that. And Victorians very quickly showed that we were too pinchy to actually pay for those things. So they began competing straight up with the HEBs and the Sams of the world and had a better cut of meat, I thought. But at the end of the day, they decided that it was more profitable. Shame on them, right, for not being communist.
Well, and at the end of the day, I hate to say it, Victorians did what Victorians do, and they don't support local small businesses.
That's right.
About 4 of them that are going out of business this last week announcing it.
But Chopping Block says thank you to all the local and loyal customers that they had. And you may see them again. They may come back in and open another store one of these days. Chestic Furniture. Chestic and Love make your house a home. Saw Bobby Leon Thursday evening at Judge Zeller's birthday party. Bobby Leon saying, please come in. For over 100 years, Chestnut has shown you why you just always do better at Chestnut. Come in and get bedding, Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Sealy Posturepedic. They have everything you need for your home. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Soon, we're going to have another Wade and Carter Bingo night. Everybody.
Next week, maybe? After the 4th? Yeah. Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Christy Thurman says Victoria likes cheap and fast. So sad. You can have one, cheap, fast, or good. You can have
Two or three.
two of them. Pick the two you want.
Yeah.
Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. Get out there and have a great meal at the L&L Grill.
Yeah, they do a great job, and that's a lot of fun. It's interesting because all of a sudden everybody's saying, well, the Gulf states never signed on to the $300 billion reconstruction project in Iran if the deal holds, right? Well, it was a proposal that included possible regional participation and private sector investments. And I believe, even though I think I said this, I was hesitant, even I think last week I mentioned that I doubt you're going to get investment unless there's serious regime change, right?
Hang on, Pete.
Because the Iranians can't be trusted. They just can't.
We have Peter.
Yeah.
Our buddy Peter McNally joining
turn
us.
that down for a second on there. I don't think we can control it over here the way we're hooked up. But
hang on, Pete.
But what the private sector will go in there if they can be assured that they will get their money back or make money on the reconstruction.
Sure.
And that's the way it should be. Government shouldn't be going in there. We proved that with Hamas and the Gaza. All the money that we sent them pilfered off. So yeah, if a private business wants to take the risk now, go right ahead.
Let's say hi to our longtime friend, longtime listener, Mr. Peter McNally. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing pretty well. I'm just ready to go into the gym.
There you go. That's awful aggressive on a Monday.
Benching 225 40 times. That's your reps now?
Wow. That's awesome, Pete.
No, I do. It's a cardio rehab lab that I've gone to every time I had the heart surgery. And the reason I go is because I like the 3 RNs that run it.
That's what I was going to say. I wondered if maybe they had like a coffee bar there and you could just kind of, splash some water in your face and lean up against the container there and have a latte.
That's pretty much what I do. No,
Good for you. You've earned that. How are things in Beaumont? How are you, sir?
Oh, it's okay. There's the crime rate here is bad. And there's a lot of people, a lot of gangs are shooting at each other every weekend, that kind of stuff.
Sounds like Chicago.
Yeah, well, it is. It's kind of a mini. There's a lot of gang violence here. There really is. So
That's terrible.
It's disappointing. Yeah.
Yes, sir. How can we help? You got anything to share today?
Well, I've been doing New York quite a few times, and I don't see how, because the people I know in New York, they're mostly theater people, and they look at you like, dummy, how did he get elected? But, these people are all working people. They work their butts off, and they don't make a lot of money, and, they love New York. Of course, they love the theater. That's why they live there.
Right.
A lot of actors, producers. My brother-in-law is a producer and is very successful. He's got 3 shows running right now. And of course, he has to ask a lot of wealthy people for money because that's how producers work.
Yes, sir.
They get investors to do shows. So he's kind of middle of the road.
How do you think, you've been there. How do you think that this Democrat socialist, and I've got no problem, you and I don't always come at things the same way, but you're a fairly conservative guy and you're a very well-educated gentleman. Do you see this experiment in New York working out in the long term, or do you think that there's going to be a lot of, taking from one group to try to give to another and that they may run out of other people's money?
Well, it's hard to defend an argument when, they talk about, New York has a lot of people from Europe that are extremely wealthy. They all want to say they have a place in New York. It's kind of a status thing.
Yes, sir.
There was a man in my brother's building. He was from Japan, and he came once a year, stayed about 3 weeks, and would take a helicopter out to Long Island to play golf every afternoon. So there's a lot of people with that kind of wealth there.
Good for them.
I think, yeah. And I think that, some New Yorkers think those people should pay more than the average New Yorker, for different things. Then there's also rent control. Do you know about rent control in New York?
There's a lot of rent control. There's a lot of rent subsidies.
Rent.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's called rent control.
Yes, sir.
Had it for years. And is that really fair?
Yeah, was the idea that kept the landlord from gouging the average tenant?
Well, I guess that was the intent years ago. But now, I mean, it's, there's guys that live in nice apartments in Greenwich Village that only paying $1,000 a month.
Right.
And I would pay $5,000 a month.
And they're paying what their grandparents paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Parents probably did. And a lot of those apartments.
But then, of course, New York has a state income tax as well, right? So they adjust that.
And income taxes in the boroughs too.
Yeah. I think people just like to live there. That's why they live there. I don't think there's going to be not going to be any mass exodus from New York.
I don't know. I think a lot of the money is going to leave New York. There's been, it's been shown that New York City has the people that have the money in New York City have been going to Florida, and the people backfilling don't have that kind of money. But if I make the choice to live in New York City for whatever reason, is it up to you, Peter, to subsidize my ability to live in New York City?
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
And that's the problem I have with what's going on. And it's not just New York City. It's everywhere where somebody chooses to live and can't make a go of it. Yeah. But then they believe that somebody else needs to help them make a go of it there. You know what? If your parents want to help you make that go of it, I guess that's fine.
I don't know about that. Well, my parents lived in the suburbs. I mean, they were commuters. You got on the train every morning.
Isn't that something? Yeah. I know you like it up there, and we're glad you live in Texas, though, sir.
Well, just like look at the NBA deal with the Knicks. I mean, it got the city excited. It brought everybody together.
Yeah, they all started fires and looted and rioted and stole stuff.
No,
it's just great.
No, that's not that. That's a minority. There's always going to be people doing stuff like that.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen other teams.
I
don't recall any riots in Houston after they won the World Series.
I don't think there were big riots in Boston after New England won all those Super Bowls.
No.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
I'm with you though. Well, hey, that you're
score on riots.
You're all solid. You're always an invitee, and anytime you want to call us, you do. I hope you have a great workout. Say hi to the nurses for us.
Yeah, just don't make it act like New York is a horrible place.
No, I love New York, but I love that city. I've been there about eight times. I couldn't either. And my
good friend, he lives in Brooklyn, but he works in Manhattan. Yeah. He can't afford to live in Manhattan. Yeah,
getting a point.
But it's still one of the greatest cities in the world. So be careful.
Yes, sir. Hey, God bless you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you, Peter.
That's Peter McNally.
That easy, folks. 361-894-4020 if you want to call and get in on the program and be involved and chat with us.
Andrew Alvarez, he did throw out the word. Yeah, that was a minority. Yeah, it was. It was the minorities that started the riots. That is true. No, I don't think Peter's gone to the Socialist Party. I think Peter, for years I've said, come on, Pete doesn't believe that. And I think that for the most part, Pete is like my granddad's Democrat. He's like, hey, there are people that need a hand up, not a hand out. The Democrat Party for all of my life, has been promising people things that they don't deliver, but they still take from everybody else, even though they don't deliver.
Yeah. It's not my responsibility to subsidize your ability to live somewhere you want to live because you can't figure out how to make a go of it.
See, what I'm concerned about is if Kathy Hochul, who, by the way, was just slaughtered in congressional hearings by people that just, I mean, people that just came at her with logic, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know who that person is." "Oh, really? They were killed on one of your subways." That kind of stuff. Kathy Hochul is going to turn around and basically make New York a communist state, because she's going to take from the folks in Syracuse and pump the money into the New York City. She's going to fund. She's already given Mamdani $4.5 billion. New York City.
And he's saying he's balanced New York City's budget on the backs of taxpayers around the state.
Right. That's exactly right. He balanced the budget of the city of New York by getting a $4.5 billion cash infusion by the governor. That's not balancing a budget. That's the expenses didn't come down. He just found another pot of money.
Yeah.
Is that going to go on in perpetuity? I mean, balancing the budget would be you lower your expenses $4.5 billion to meet what your income is.
And here's why. The crime rate in New York is going up. The city of New York, I read you the platform of the Democratic Socialists of America. They want to defund police. Mamdani knows that would be the end of him.
Yet there were 10,000 active duty New York PD officers working the Knicks parade. Linda Chris says, no, wait. Christy Thurman says the true Democratic Party died with JFK. At the very least, it died with RFK. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. 1/5 of New York's police were on duty for that parade.
Yeah, and it still didn't.
Yeah, no.
Stem some of the problems.
Ridiculous. I mean, maybe just don't have the parade.
Yeah. And then it was announced that none of the Knicks were going to go to the White House to visit with the president. And then later on, it was announced that they would all be there. So you just don't know. The news you get.
Yeah. But how do you defund the police? Can you imagine that parade if there were no police on duty?
It would have been chaos. There would have probably been Knicks kidnapped, assaulted, whatever.
The riots would have been going on and might still be going on if there were no police to try to quell that violence post New York Knicks victory.
Yeah.
Right? This is the reality. We want to defund the police, and then something like that happens, and Mamdani calls more police to the scene.
Let's take a second of the First State Bank of Louise Astros update. Astros coming off a 7-game road trip where they went 5-2. The Astros now 42-44, 2 games below 500. I'm not sure exactly where they are in the standings.
I think they're 1 game out.
As you pointed out, the worst division in baseball, which is the American League West, they are going to have the most interesting post All-Star game pennant race.
Houston is 1 game back of Texas. Seattle's a half game back of Texas.
We know the Rangers aren't going to win the division. We just know that.
The Athletics are 2 games back of Texas.
And they won't win it either.
And even the LA Angels of Anaheim are only 6.5 out, and they are in dead last in the AL West at 36-49.
So Houston or Seattle will win the AL West. It's going to happen. That's the only the winner of the division is going to get in the playoffs.
But from top to bottom, no other division in baseball is as close as the AL West. And it's going to be a fun pennant race to watch because every other division is pretty much over.
Yeah. Jonathan Williams says they want 10,000 social workers to talk the rioters down, not actual police. Yeah. Yesterday's game, Astros end of 9 innings. They're in a 3-3 tie. You had a home run by Delgado hit a shot. He tomahawked one for 2 runs, and we scored again later in the game. That's that insightful Astro stuff. 3-3 at the end of 9. Josh Hader comes in, and yesterday Ash walked 3 batters, which is more than he had walked. He'd only walked 2 in his other 11 innings.
He got the win, though.
He did get the win because top of 10 the perfect scenario, who you want at the plate. Jeremy Pena was the last out. He's on second. Andrew Alvarez is at the plate. They don't want any part of Alvarez, who, by the way, was basically hitless on this road trip. They throw Alvarez 4 straight balls, and he walks. The next batter up is the really strong and fantastic baseball player, Isaac Paredes, who rips a ball into right for a single. Alvarez goes to third. Pena scores. Astros now up 4-3. The next batter after Paredes is Christian Walker, who deposits one in the left field bleachers. Astros lead 7-3. De Los Santos comes out, ends up allowing 2 runs. Astros win, Astros win, Astros win. So,
Yordan Alvarez, not
Yordan Alvarez, not Andrew Alvarez. Yeah, solid. Yordan, really, really strong.
Jonathan Williams says the Astros are 1 game back because they've played 2 more games. But here's the thing. I don't think it matters right now in the AL West because nobody's running away with that division.
No, but I'll take 42 and 44. They were way below. BJ Nelson, obviously bored of the sports, starts a side conversation with our own Rena Shearer. How's the family? We love all and serve all. We're kind of the Hard Rock Cafe of talk radio. By the way, incomparable talk radio. I will pat Ash on the back.
Gavin McKenna goes first in the NHL draft on Friday night.
And nobody cares. No, nobody. Who is that guy?
Probably the next greatest NHL player ever.
Is he going to be good?
Yeah.
Did he go to Calgary?
No.
Did he go to
Toronto.
the Rangers? Toronto. And the rich get richer.
Flames got a good one. Carson Carroll's good defenseman. He could potentially be a Hall of Famer. Canada
wins in the World Cup.
Yeah, getting to the round of 16. First time. This has been a historic first for Canada in soccer. They got their first goal scored in the World Cup. They got their first point in the World Cup. They advanced.
How many times have they played in the FIFA World Cup?
That's been a few.
And that's the first time they've ever scored a goal?
Yeah.
Man, sounds like you in your club days.
Yep. Lots of clubs, no scoring.
There you go. That sounds like if I wanted to go to someplace and watch a bunch of men run around in shorts and not score, I'd go to a Canadian soccer game.
Exactly. So Canada playing in Houston on July 4th at noon.
Are you thinking about maybe going?
If somebody has tickets that they want to gift me as a kind gesture, I'd love it. But no, when I looked yesterday, I think the cheapest seat was $1,400.
You had a casual observation the other day during your travels. You were in the DFW airport, which was full of
soccer
Cup
fans. Yep.
And there a lot of them were sporting their country's colors. And what did you observe?
2 things. The Japanese, young and here, they have money to burn apparently. And the American,
we gave them the transistor.
And the American fans, the most slovenly looking of all the fans in the airport. That's just observation.
A lot of
based
double
on,
XL jerseys
that were
sold.
still way too tight. Yeah. I mean, these guys should have probably been wearing goalkeeper jerseys and they still would have been too tight. But just looking at the appearances of the fans, it's a sad commentary on the state of physical fitness and health in America when it's noticeable that the ones wearing the U.S. jerseys, obese to morbidly obese.
There you go. So that is the First State Bank of Louise Astros World Cup fat shaming update.
Hockey update.
And hockey. There you have it.
Great
First
day
State
to
Bank
be an
of Louise,
American, folks.
Friendliest bank anywhere.
Great week to be an American. Great year to be an American. Great time to be an American. Love this country. Do not let it fall into the hands of the communists and the socialists who are parading themselves as Democrats and the apologists who go to bat for them.
A democratic republic will not be left to the meek or weak. We have got to fight for our way of life. You cannot take it for granted. Ronald Reagan said it's just one generation away.
The German Democratic Republic was which country? East Germany, right?
There you go. And notice that nobody ever fled from West Germany to East Germany. Not even to see family, because they didn't want to get stuck over there.
The only guy that I remember doing it was that German teenager who stole the plane and flew it into the Kremlin. Remember that?
Right. There you
Just
go.
to prove a point that the USSR was not the big bad.
Paper mache tiger.
Although actually they found a humanitarian on the who was in charge of missile defense, who actually, if it's an interesting story, but he realized the plane was no threat and didn't want to kill an idiot out of
Folks,
compassion.
We love you guys. Hope you have a great day out there. It's Monday. Go win the week.
Yeah.
Have a great one. Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.